Well, we continue with our focus on Mother's Day by shining the spotlight on gender-based violence, which continues to be a challenge in the country. Femicide in South Africa is among the highest in the world. Activist Sibongile Ndashe joins us for more in a moment. In fact, she's on now. Sibongile, good to speak to you. Appreciate you making time. Can you provide an overview of the current state of gender-based violence in South Africa?
We are not doing well at all. The levels remains pretty high, one of the highest in the world. And we are talking about all manner of violence against women, gender-based violence. We're talking about domestic violence, sexual violence, femicide, and a whole range of other forms of violence that are directed at women because they are women.
Now, you say we are not doing well at all. Those numbers are extremely high. Why? Why do we see this trajectory either continue to go up, or at the very least seeming to maintain those numbers?
We have a challenge on political will. I think we have really spent a lot of time talking about things than doing things. I think many people will remember that about 18 months ago, we had a very big summit that was looking at gender-based violence, and this was a presidential summit. That summit came up with recommendations, a plan to accelerate the response. And I will tell you that 18 months later, this report was never launched. Only this week, various people just started getting it, but it was still not even a formal launch, just being sent in various groups. What this means is that the 6-year plan, which was supposed to accelerate the implementation of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, were not implemented. There was 6 months plan and there were 2 years plan, and I think by the end of the 2 years, which is supposed to be in November this year, we would still have not done that. There were serious reasons why that summit was felt necessary and urgent. The plan had come in during COVID. There wasn't a lot of attention that was paid to it, and understandably, because there was all of this work that we were doing to respond to COVID. So number one, it's the lack of the political will, where there is a lot of lip service paid to the need to do something about it. And then the other things are really the 6 pillars of the National Strategic Plan, which is about the lack of a coordinated response. We are still dealing with a lot of fragmentation between provincial, national, and municipal level, between different government departments. And we are also seeing this good example that you've just shown us now. There is a problem around providing care, support, and shelter to victims of violence. Over the news, the past number of weeks, we have seen how organizations like People Opposing Power, People Opposing Women Abuse, do not have or have not received, grants from the Department of Social Development. And this has meant that some of the shelters and services that they provide have had to close because of this lack of funding. And we are still seeing a criminal justice system that is not able to respond at the pace that it is supposed to. We have a problem of poor investigation. We have all of these gender stereotypes and rape myths that are applied when people go to the police station to seek violence, and still a culture where some of these issues are not taken seriously. The list is just endless. Women continue to occupy the kind of lowest place when we talk about socioeconomic position in society, and so they tend to be vulnerable. Lack of ownership of property or rights. They can be sent out to the streets and all of those things. And these were all things that National Strategic Plan said we needed to respond to, like economic justice as a pillar, in order to be able to elevate and support women who find themselves in these positions. So at the top of it is a lack of a coordinated response and political will.
Now, the other stat that's pretty glaring is the number of cases that go unreported of gender-based violence. Now, if my memory serves me right, it almost suggests that it's only 10% of the cases of gender-based violence that actually are reported. Is this correct?
This is very correct. So when you look at the statistics, you would find that National Prosecution Authority records